Officially, hello and welcome. Welcome to the One Heart Collective. My name is Emily. I am your host of our monthly global meditation and education events. And I am here today with a very special guest. He's actually our speaker for July, our guest speaker and our meditation leader, Leland Holgate of the Willful Warrior. Hi, Leland.
Hey, good to see you.
Leland and I have had the privilege of working together now two different times for retreats that we've done at my center, the Fountain in New Milford, Connecticut. We've worked inside the EE system and outside in nature with all the beauty. Leland is a retired combat veteran and he has recovered from being paralyzed, spinal cord injuries two different times in his life. He has made a full recovery against all odds. So he has a lot of value to share with all of us, our centers, our clients, and even on our own personal evolution into the heart and how we produce those healing chemicals that really truly cause massive change in the body. He's in school for neuroscience, so he has all the fun science talk. It is absolutely my favorite combination of what a person does. It's alchemizing our own process and then sharing what we did and what we learned with the world to make impact. So without going into any more, we want to hear from you, Leland. First and foremost, can you just tell us a little bit about your journey, what happened, how you got started on this path, and yeah, take it from here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure. So, basically, I joined the military when I was 17, came from a military family, and was tired of being told what to do. So, I figured that was my best option. So, joined the military at a very young age and became part of the most deployed squadron in the United States military. Actually, I was a C-130 loadmaster. So, we were constantly moving into the most dangerous parts of the planet and doing things that most anybody would not want to see, hear, or do themselves. And at the end of that, when we came back from one of our wars, the Kosovo conflict, we were out having some fun, trying to blow off that steam, right? Because inevitably there's quite a bit of pressure there after combat. And I was injured on a boating accident, getting pulled behind a boat on an inner tube, and I got slung shot off of it. And that's when I impacted the water and snapped my neck at C1 and C2, which completely shut everything off. I was dead for a little over 3 minutes. They revived me, thankfully, on the shore. As you can tell, here I am. But when I woke up in the ambulance, I couldn't feel anything from the neck down. And it was just the most terrifying experience, aside from combat, because there was plenty of terrifying experiences there, but at least I was focused and I was on task, right? There was something to do. Here, there was just nothing. I was a prisoner in my own body and a prisoner in my own mind. So it was quite the lowest part of my life. It really was. I was even suicidal at that point because 19 years old, nothing inside of me wanted to be this way for the rest of my life. There's no way I could have ever thought of living that way. And something happened on that third day of the doctors managing my expectations. And you can imagine, of course, this is 1999. We didn't have the knowledge that we do now. So the doctors weren't very hopeful and also didn't give me much to look forward to. So I was in quite a dark place, and something happened where my military training about never giving up and always trying to escape, always resist, you're never forgotten kicked in. And in that moment that I screamed at the doctor, no, basically, this is not going to be my experience, things started to wake up inside of the shoulders and neck region. And that fed into being given a physical therapist who then all of a sudden was a yogi and started teaching me all of these breath techniques and these really amazing ancient forms of yoga. And wouldn't you know, all of these pieces of myself started coming back. And I know that wouldn't have happened if I didn't declare to myself, no, this is not the rest of my life. It's going to be different. It's going to be what I want it to be. And the universe, as always, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear, showed up with this amazing yogi of a physical therapist. And over the course of 2 years, I got everything back. I was wobbly. I was on a cane, of course, but I was no longer in a wheelchair. I was not, just sitting, hoping for things to get better. I was limping away from this thing. So I had defied all odds. And there's plenty of messy middle after that happened. But you can imagine I had to figure out how the hell I did that. And that's where I've been for the greater part of the last 2 decades, is just connecting the dots between all of this ancient knowledge that has been out there for thousands of years, and these cultures have already known about it, and now connecting the dots with neuroscience and psychology and just proving them right, basically. Funny enough, 7,000, 8,000 years later, here I am just proving what these yogis knew with no science or educational background whatsoever, just in that spiritual sense of their practice and daily dealings and all that stuff. So yeah, that's the exciting part now, is now I get to take what I have found, connect those dots for other people like you had mentioned, and give them hope in a way that they might not have known was there.
That is such an incredible story. And something that you said that stands out to me for the viewers is that, and I want to say for those of you who don't know my story, I also was in a wheelchair, completely different situation, but I had to dig out of just an unbelievable, like where there was no hope to ever recover. And my whole body was atrophied. So there was something that you said that stuck out to me for someone in that position, which is, if you're flat on your back, if you feel pushed down, face in the mud, first of all, roll over and look at the stars. But second of all, you need to start decide, is this really going to be the thing? What everyone's telling you, is that really going to be the thing that you choose to fully embrace as your reality? And then the next step is start asking the universe better, because you said when the student's ready, the teacher appears. You've got to start asking for those teachers and those different answers. You have to become a seeker. So yeah, beautiful, beautiful example of what being a seeker results in. Um, and you now have dedicated your life to this work. And I wanted to ask you about, like, so now since we're going to be having you as our guest speaker and meditation leader for the One Heart Collective, this is going to be going out. We have over 100 centers registered for our first call coming up in a week now on June 2nd. You will be our second guest speaker. We could have anywhere from 100 to 200. We'll see. And then each one of those centers is going to be able to hold anywhere from 2 to 20 or 30 people. So we're going to be obviously like meeting in these pods and gathering. We have the scalar waves and encapsulating the work that we're doing. You're going to be sharing this beautiful thing that you came up with called the medicine wheel. We've done it at all of the retreats that we've done at my center, the one that we did back last year and the 2-day all-inclusive retreat that we just did last month. We did it both days. It was incredibly profound. So could you, for the sake of the center owners who are going to be organizing, hosting your work in their center in July, and for the participants watching, could you explain a little bit about what the medicine wheel is, who it's for, and what it looks like and what it does?
Yeah, absolutely. This is, I think, the biggest gift that has come through me from the universe to humanity. When you think of the medicine wheel, I want you to think of the ancient cultures of old, right? Not just the American Indians, but the Hindu, the Norse, all of them. What we would do as a society in all of our tribes is we would always gather at the end of the week. Sabbath, Sunday, was always a gathering for the entirety of these ancient cultures. And some of them, including the American Indians to this day, and some other tribes still meet in that way, where every week they're gathering together in a circle. And there's something magical about the circle, because as we look at the circle, we know that there's no beginning, there's no end. It's unending, it's limitless, it's infinite, it continues. And they knew this in these cultures. So that's why they always gathered and they sang and they danced and they breathed together. And it was a way for them to all bring their energy together and allow themselves to completely shift absolutely everything. And not just absolutely everything in the way of, I'm going to change my attitude and change how I feel right now, but quite literally, healings are known to happen in many of these circumstances. And a lot of these ancient cultures would place the sick and infirm, the elderly, in the center of these circles as they danced and sang and breathed and just constantly sent this energy and amazing things that they're creating towards what we in our medicine wheel call the receivers, the people that are in the center that need just a little extra help, a little extra love. And that's where a tribe comes in. And that's where the medicine wheel is based off of, because in these ancient societies, there was no looking to somebody of any responsibility or anything needed from that person if they were sick, because the entire tribe knew, we're going to pick up for John, if John is sick, we're picking up for John. Everybody else is going to take on his tasks. Right now, the only thing you have to do, John, is heal. Soak in this love, know that we're here for you. And that's what the medicine wheel is built around, is just bringing back this ancient technology. And that's, when you look at it, it's the biggest form of technology. It's us. We're sending out this amazing healing energy because we are these energetic beings. And when we gather in the medicine wheel, we're even remotely, we know through research and science that has been conducted over and over and over again, that even remotely, we can create that energetic circle. As if you're seeing me through these energetic waves and radio waves and everything else, that same thing applies to the energy that we create as well. As well as you are seeing and hearing me, my energy is coming through this video, through this audio. So we gather together. Of course, we do these live, and they're magical live, like Emily had mentioned. But remotely, we will gather the tribe together. And that's the beautiful part, is we can get hundreds, thousands, potentially millions of people together at these times to really put a bunch of love and intention back into the community. And that's what the medicine wheel is built around. It's there's so much more I could talk about it. You know me, I could talk about it for hours, but essentially just imagine gathering together with the entire tribe, placing those who need that extra love and attention and healing in the center, and then just blasting them with love and light. And here's the thing, inevitably, even the ancient cultures knew this. The ones on the outside, the givers, also get back what they give. So there's plenty of times in these ancient cultures that somebody who was giving had some sort of amazing healing thing happen, or some amazing experience happen to them, because as you give, so too do you receive. It's the literal translation of karma, to serve.
Yes, this is going to be such a beautiful thing for us to do all over the world. And we're going to do a little bit of a hybrid with your medicine wheel with the people, the receivers in the middle of the group. We're also going to take all of that heart space and that love that we're pouring into them, and we're going to pour it back into the entire Mother Earth and all of the inhabitants in it. This is going to be such a powerful event. For the center owner, so they have a little logistics of the ratios. So if you have a center that say holds 8 people, how would that work with the receivers? Now, center owners, I'm addressing you guys specifically right now. I recommend you use this as a moment of humanitarianism, and you take those people when you get the ratios from Leland. Pick out how many tickets you're going to sell, pick out how many receivers you can have, and hand invite some of your people who are flat on their back right now, who are struggling financially. I recommend that you gift this experience to them, but really come and explain to them the importance of receiving. A lot of times when we're sick, part of what got us there was we had difficulty receiving. We didn't care for the self we needed to, or maybe we put ourselves in situations where people were taking advantage, or whatever it is. But we want to bring that person back into that state of receivership. So I think the first step of doing that is to gift this to them with, again, personally hand invite them from your heart and explain why they're partaking in that receivership is part of them participating in their own rescue and in their own healing. So that's what I'd like to say to you as center owners. And then Leland, if you could explain the logistics for the center owners and the people who are attending as well.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So when you think about the medicine wheel, of course, you're going to have that outer circle, right? So we want to make sure that the ratio, as Emily mentioned, is conducive to being able to send energy into the center of the circle. So roughly what I really figure on is, for every 4 people that you have, 1 of them can be a receiver. If you have, around 10 people, you can make it 3 receivers if you wanted to, because then you still have 7 people really feeding into the center. Of course, you can imagine you don't want it offset where 3 people are the givers and there's 7 receivers, because no matter what, you're going to create that energy. But out of the 4, easy number is, out of 4 people, 1 of them is a receiver. Of course, if you get into 10, 11 people, of course, you could go up to 3 if you wanted to, but that's just a safe number to bet off of. And then you want to make sure that you have room for both the outer circle and the inner circle. We keep them all in a pretty tight circle there, but you want to make sure that there's room for each one of them to lay back at a certain point as well, because you're going to be sitting up and laying back and then sitting back up again.
Both the participants and the receivers, or just the receivers?
Yeah, exactly. Both of them will be moving up and down, and that's the thing too. It's a good thing that you mentioned that. For the receivers that really need a lot of healing right now, aren't too energetic, they can lay down the entire time. If they, it's basically up to their comfort level and where is your receiver at his healing journey or her healing journey right now.
Yeah. Okay. So centers, you could have 3 or 4 yoga mats down the middle of the room with all the chairs around. Make sure that they have cushions and bolsters and whatever they need. Or you could use your zero gravity chairs and line them up in the middle of the room and have your other givers lining the outer part circumference of that circle, inner circle. Lovely. That is wonderful. I think that's going to be really helpful. And then to switch gears for a minute, to just to announce to everybody who wants to jump into your work, where can they go to start doing your work right away? Because obviously you are researching the science of how these chemicals are producing all these active compounds, doing it in oxygenation and breath work inside of the EE system, which already is increasing oxygenation and all of these biological upgrades. It is such a magical combination. So if someone wants to get started with your work right now, where do they go? And what do you suggest just for the everyday person that's never done breath work, coming off the street, or even the more advanced meditator? Where do you suggest that they start with your programs or your courses?
Yeah, great question. Great question. I kept it super simple. Everything is right on my website at thewillfulwarrior.org. So if you go to the website, we have a couple of different ways that you can get involved. There is our healing breathwork fundamentals course, which that's where I would start, where I fresh to breathwork, because then in that way you're going to get practices. But some people start with the practices without the knowledge. And as you mentioned, knowing what's happening inside of your body just allows me to surrender in. And I've noticed that for my clients as well. So Healing Breathwork Fundamentals is our 5-week self-paced recorded course. If you would like to, there's also memberships that go along with that where we meet twice a month and do new practices, have question and answer sessions. But just on the basics, Healing Breathwork Fundamentals is where you want to start. It's a really great course. And there's the I am willing to, everybody can use your code for that as well to get that $200 off.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I will share all of that in the comments. And then also, this is a question that I know some center owners are going to have. We've had amazing success with our retreats that we've done at the fountain. Can they book you? Are you available to travel? Would you like to go start seeing more centers and bringing more of your work to their communities?
I would absolutely love that. So yeah, it's something that we've looked at, and I would love to work with more of these centers and be able to help them pump some numbers as well as help their amazing clients.
And how would they get a hold of you? Is that also on the website? Is there a contact form?
Yeah, so website, you can get a hold of me there. Easiest way, just shoot me an email. Let me know that you're interested. Thewillfulwarrior@gmail.com. Super easy to get a hold of me, and we can cover like all the logistics and that stuff and check you guys out and get started.
Awesome. Centers put EE system request, EE system event request in the subject so he knows exactly what you are and what's going on before he even, I'm sure you guys get tons of emails like we do. So it's always nice to have that little thing that pops out.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll pick that email out of the list.
yeah, you got the elite code now. And then what was my last question? This is a question I love. I was recently asked this on an interview and I liked it. It was a fun question. What do you see when you look into the future? You have come from some of the darkest parts of the earth. You've been in some of the most difficult parts of our human history, war, being in an accident yourself, going through the process. Like you said, it's very messy. Yes, you turn the corner, you start to heal, but it is a big, sloppy, messy, everywhere process along the path to being now you're a yoga instructor. You can sit in positions I cannot even comprehend yet. I'm on my way there, but I'm actually a little bit behind you. It's a whole process to get into that stillness with the body, and you have done a remarkable job at that. What do you, when you look at the future, what do you see from the huge variety of what you've been through and what you've learned?
This is an amazing question. What I see is something we're actually going to focus on creating a tour around this, but it's the Great Awakening essentially. There's more and more people that I notice that are waking up, and not waking up in the sense that they've, been completely asleep, but just waking up to possibilities and limitless potentials that are inside of their experience, and moving from that thinking of feeling like we're caged animals to knowing we're truly infinite. And that's what I see happening, especially with the work you're doing, the work that I'm doing, the work that Dr. Joe and all these other amazing individuals out there are doing. It's the great awakening right now. And we're looking forward to like touring. We want to tour next year. We want to tour 50 cities and do the medicine wheel in 50 different cities to help with the great awakening. Because the more we do this, the more we're going to elevate consciousness collectively together. And I know even if you're in the worst of circumstances right now or having a rough time, everybody is feeling this elevation of consciousness around the world. And that's what I see. I see us just completely shifting and changing the human experience as we know it in the future.
I completely agree. And I think it starts with us finding and forming our tribes. It doesn't have to be like local, it can be non-local. And then what's interesting is even if you have to find your tribe non-locally, then they start appearing in person too.
Yeah.
So we find the way, we make the way, we form the tribe, and we keep growing the tribe. And I completely resonate with your message, your work, and it's a privilege and an honor to be able to work with you. And you hear that, EE System Centers, they want to do a tour of 50 different states this year. So email, you have the code to say in the title, get your center on that tour list. Like, oh my goodness. And then learn from Leland and learn from his techniques and start plugging your clients into this work. I'm again so excited, so grateful. Thank you so much for being our guest speaker, and we will see you on officially in July.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to work with you.
Talk soon.